Good evening, grade 12s. It's so nice to speak to you. My name is August Engelbrecht, and I'm from the Faculty of Engineering, in the Dean's office in particular. And so welcome to all of you. We know that you have many questions to pose to us, and you know the WhatsApp number to post the questions. And so please shoot us with questions. We're longing to hear from you. Many of you have attended our in-person open day not so long ago, the 20th of April. And some of you went onto our website and you've looked at the virtual open day. And because of that, many of you have applied to study engineering in 2025, or there might be some of you that are still contemplating whether you should apply or not. We hope that this particular session, this Q&A session, will answer some of your burning questions so that you can apply if you haven't done so yet. I have questions about the faculty in itself, the degree programs. You might have questions on the support systems that we have in place at the Faculty of Engineering. And you might have many other questions, the way forward from 2025. And so we are here to assist you in answering those questions. I'm just the host, so I will not mostly answer the questions. I will just ask the questions, and my the dean, the acting dean, Professor Celeste Viljoen, she will answer most of the questions, and then our dear student on my far left, her name is Ncheli Singh, and she will answer some of the student-related questions. Just about Ncheli Singh, she's a final year electronic engineering student, but she's also the vice chairperson of our Engineering Student Council. And so she knows a lot about student leadership, and she will be able to assist you with those kind of questions. Just something on Professor Viljoen. Professor Viljoen is not only acting as our dean for this part of this year, but she's also one of our senior professors. Professor in civil engineering. She have extended experience in industry, and so she will be able to share some of that if there is questions around that. So we will gladly start answering your questions now. And so if you haven't done so yet, throw us with those questions. Here's the first question. I'm keen to study mechanical engineering starting in 2025. My grade 11 results do exceed the selection criteria score currently published. For the 3 selections choices, is it advisable to apply for more than one engineering option, i.e. apply for mechanical as well as other degree programs in engineering, or should I just go with one? Prof. Viljoen, your question.
Thank you, August. So the different disciplines of engineering has typically different selection thresholds, and the reason for that is that the selection thresholds depends on both the number and the quality of applicants that we get for each of the different programs. So I will use the past few years as the benchmark. The highest selection thresholds are in mechanical and mechatronic engineering, as well as in chemical engineering. So they would be the most difficult to get into in terms of how high your matric results would need to be, or actually your grade 11 results. I'll make a note on that just now. The other programs, civil engineering, industrial engineering, and electrical engineering, have slightly lower selection thresholds, around the order of 600 selection score, where the maximum selection score is 800, so you're looking at about a 75% performance level. The selection score is calculated by taking your matric average, but excluding life orientation, and then adding your average for physical science and adding your average for maths. So in a sense, maths and science count twice. So that would make up your selection score. If you got 100% for everything, your maximum selection score would be 800. A selection score of 600 would get you typically into civil engineering, industrial engineering, or electrical engineering, and a selection score above 620 to 640 would get you into mechanical and mechatronic engineering, but this differs and depends on the number of applicants that we get. So the threshold is only set after the closing of applications on the 31st of July. It is possible for you to get an offer sooner than that, but then your selection score would have to be really high, so that we are really confident that it would be above the final selection scores. So typically a selection score above 640 and a mathematics mark above 75 and a matric average above 75 would get you almost immediate conditional offer on application. And then the final selection scores are decided once we have all the applications.
Okay, so here's the next question from Sivuhile. Sivuhile, thank you very much for your question. His question is, do we have enough job opportunities in South Africa for engineers? Prof. Viljoen.
So the answer there is a resounding yes, especially if those engineers come from a high quality education. Our students are not struggling to find jobs across all of those different disciplines, and especially students with good study records gets grabbed up almost immediately once they graduate. South Africa as a country are really in dire need of engineers and good engineers, and there is a vast number of opportunities out there for engineers in all the different disciplines. You can also work with your degree internationally, because our degrees are all EXA accredited. What that means is, because EXA is part of the Washington Accord, it means that the degrees are also recognized in many international countries as a basis for professional registration as engineers in those countries. So from that perspective also, the degree will set you up even to work abroad, but there are plenty of job opportunities in South Africa, and my patriotic side would urge you to consider them first.
Okay, here's a question. I see that you've got a student also there. Please tell us about a typical day schedule regarding lectures and practicals. Typical day schedule.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So the typical schedule depends on how much is for your year you are scheduled in. So for you guys, you'll be in first year. So I will take you guys on how my schedule was in first year. I don't want to lie, the schedule was a bit hectic because we had like 1 hour lunch, and then like the classes were starting from 8 till 1, and then you have 1 hour break. And then from there, you have the 3 hours of tutorials or practicals. As for practicals in first year, you guys do not have much of practicals. So that time would be an opportunity for you guys to ask questions, because you have demis, you have your lecturers. They will be there to assist you. In as much as I said that the schedule was a bit hectic, but it gets better as time goes because you have the necessary help. Because yes, our lecturers are well equipped as well as our demis, and also you get an opportunity to chat with other people that will be able to help you with some certain problems you might have.
Thank you, Ntshele Singh. Here's a question. When will conditional offers be issued? I've already applied in April and I haven't heard from the university. Prof. Viljoen.
Okay, in general, the conditional offers are only issued after the 31st of July. So it typically takes us about a month after we've had all the applications, because we do it in between the rest of our jobs. And it takes about a month for us to finalize the list of conditional offers that we then publish and make available. If I can take this opportunity, August, to already speak to a question that's quite common. If you apply to more than one program at Stellenbosch University, it may be even that you apply to more than one engineering program. You can apply for 3 programs. That may be 3 engineering programs, but it may also be a mix from different faculties. That's up to you. But the offers are independently generated, so it doesn't matter in which order you rank. You don't rank them, but it doesn't matter in which order you insert them in your application. That doesn't make a difference in terms of the selection. You will be selected for engineering independently for the different programs within engineering, and also independently from other programs in other faculties. So your one application does not affect the other application, if I can put it like that.
A good question coming up. Thank you, Prof. Viljoen. What is the language of instruction for engineering degree programs? Prof. Viljoen.
Right, so our undergraduate programs are accessible for both Afrikaans and English students. In the first year, we have a parallel language offering in all the modules of the first year. Then in the second and the third year, we have mostly English lectures and Afrikaans support, as well as Afrikaans summaries. And in the final year, it's typically English in terms of the lectures. And then throughout, you can answer your assessments in either Afrikaans or English. That would be up to you. It's your choice. So mostly English, in other words, but also a lot of support for Afrikaans in all our programs. Postgraduate, at the postgraduate level, we do draw a lot of students from international other countries as well, and there we offer our programs in English only.
Okay, here's an easy question that I will be able to answer. We don't need an engineer to answer that question. When are the NBT tests written? Good news. If you apply for engineering studies, you do not sit for NBTs. You don't write NBTs if you want to study engineering. So, one less test, one less exam, don't worry. Okay. Right, the next question. Is the undergraduate 3 or 4 years? Why do you call your honours degree a 4th year?
All right, we offer a Bachelor of Engineering. It is a 4-year degree. In terms of the so-called NQF levels, the 4th year is at the honours level, but it is not an honours degree. So it is a Bachelor of Engineering. It is a 4-year program, and it is at the similar NQF level as an honours degree. In other words, you can go directly from the Bachelor of Engineering into a Master's of Engineering degree, should you be interested in pursuing postgraduate studies.
Okay.
Repeat
what kind of support will I get in engineering to assist me with my transition from school to university? What kind of support do you offer?
Thank you for the question. In the engineering faculty, we offer a lot of support specifically to our first year students, because we know from experience that this is a difficult year from an adjustment perspective. Many of you come from far. Most of you come out of the house of your parents and live on your own, so to speak. You have a lot more freedom, as it should be as a young adult, but at the same time you also are then thrown into a fairly challenging academic program. Now, most of you are very, very smart and have performed really well in matric, and that's why you were able to qualify for offer at engineering. But still, it is quite a step up from especially in terms of, as Ntsheli mentioned, the amount of work that you were used to at school level. In a sense, we use all your brilliant talents, to allow us to get more into the 4-year degree so that you can step away here with more value. But yeah, so that means that you do have quite a step up from school in many respects. And so we do offer a lot of support specifically focused on the first year. In the faculty, for example, we have appointed 2 educational psychologists to serve our engineering students with advice on time management, on anxiety management, on planning their studies and so forth. Also to help students who may be struggling with learning difficulties or who may struggle with ADHD or other types of learning challenges. We also have August, who actually help and advise our students also on financial aspects. We have a dedicated other support person in our department. She's absolutely wonderful, Natalie White. She's very empathetic, and she's always a shoulder and an ear for you to go to with any problems that may pop up. In addition, we have every week with the first years a dedicated session with the dean to be sure that we pick up any issues that arise immediately so that the management team can address anything that comes up from the classes of first years. That is all in addition to the rest of the support that is available on campus as well. But I would say, if I can pinpoint one thing that I think makes the biggest difference, it is our staff across the faculty. They will serve our students with a very high level of dedication. As Ntshele Singh also mentioned, that the support and the help that is available within the tutorial sessions, for example, and also in the lectures is really important for your study success.
Okay, good question from Wilco Kutsia. Thanks for your question, Wilco. He wants to know, can you please tell us about bursaries that are available for engineering, and where can we find contact details to apply? Wilco, bursaries is hard to come by. One of the most important things is students that are performing well at school and students that are getting good grades, they've got the best chance to get bursaries in general. So I'm sure you're one of those hard-working students. So what we recommend students to do is to go onto marties.com. That's the official undergraduate or prospective website for the university, marties.com. Go to bursaries and loans. Click on that tab, and there's going to be, lots of information. External bursaries, bursaries offered through the University of Stellenbosch, trust funds, and various funds. And so we want you to browse through that list and see if you can get the contact details and apply to these companies. If parents have an income less than 350,000, that's a combined income per annum, those students qualify to apply for NSFAS. And that's an application that the student does directly onto the NSFAS website. And on marties.com, you'll find the link to that particular website and so on. And then we want students to also apply directly onto the websites of engineering companies. There's normally lots of information and contact details available on these company websites. So we hope you get it right. First start, marties.com. Here's a question. Ntshele Singh, this is a question for you. I am a girl in a girls' school. Will I fit into engineering? What is your experience?
Okay, thank you so much. So I know that the engineering is a male-dominated degree, but in as much as there are more males than females, we are here to study the same degree. And then personally, as a woman, I have never been in a situation where I feel like the male dominancy is like a challenging factor, because the males, they're always there to help you out. And also the engineering faculty offers encouraging initiatives for females as to empower them. For instance, we have Engineering Student Council, whereby there is a portfolio meant to empower women. And every second semester, we host an industrial week. In that industrial week, there are women speakers who are there as to inspire women, because I remember last year there was a woman who was one of the speakers, and she did her undergrad degree as well as master's here, and she told us that she was doing well. So you being a female coming from a girls' school is not gonna be like a challenge. I know it's gonna be like maybe a bit of a challenge in the first weeks, but as time goes, it's gonna get better. Besides, in first year, the group are very large, so you won't feel like anywhere uncomfortable.
Here's a question directly for you, civil engineering. What exactly do we do when it comes to practicals in civil engineering? Absolutely down your alley.
Well, so civil engineering entails three broad fields, roughly. Structural engineering, engineering related to water, if I can put it as broad as that, and then engineering related to roads and road safety. I probably should add a fourth one, geotechnical engineering. That has to do with soil mechanics. So in each of those four main disciplines, there will be laboratory work and possibly even field work that gets done as part of civil engineering and also site visits. So what is typically the case, let's say, for example, in structural engineering, is that you may get into the lab and build some small structural elements. You may find out that it's harder to mix concrete than you thought. You will, for example, in the water laboratory, we actually have the second largest water laboratory in the country, and I think also the one with the highest pump volume, cubics, ability to pump water at the highest rate of water pumps that can be done in a laboratory in South Africa. And then we also have a fire laboratory because we've got a group in fire safety. That's not utilized at the undergraduate level, but there's postgraduate opportunities, very exciting postgraduate opportunities in that. We also have a brand new geotechnical laboratory that allows you to do all sorts of experiments as far as soil mechanics is concerned, including obviously road pavements and so forth. So we do offer a lot of practical contact as well, even in the undergraduate degree, and very much so at the postgraduate level.
Good. Here's a question from Mark. How easy is it to switch from first year chemical engineering to another engineering discipline since you've got a generic first year?
So Mark, I'm not sure if you already know this. It almost sounds as though you might know this. So we do offer a common first year. What that means is that all the different disciplines take the same modules for the first year. I'll add a small disclaimer to that, except for the data engineering stream in electrical and electronic engineering. So let me first talk about the bulk of them. So most disciplines take the same modules, and that makes it really easy for you to switch at the end of your first year. If you pass all your modules in the first year, then you are allowed to switch, no questions asked. If you failed maybe a module or two, there's still a good chance that you will be allowed to switch. The person who will make that call is the head of the department into which you want to switch. If you failed most of your modules, then likely the head of the department will be not so keen to say yes. So that's the reality on that end. But mostly our common first year makes it easy for you to change your direction at the end of the year. And if I haven't calculated the number, but we had about 8% of students switching their programs at the end of last year. So just to give you an indication that this is utilized to some extent by students who were not quite sure. And what is also interesting is that mostly the programs don't gain or lose much students, so there's as many students switching into a program as out of it. So that is also quite interesting one. So yeah, the common first year does give some flexibility in that regard, especially if you're still a little bit unsure about which engineering you want to study. So just to get back to the data engineering stream of engineering, there's two modules that they take that do not match the common first year. And what that means is that if you need to switch out of data engineering or into data engineering, there will be two mismatched modules that you will have to catch up.
Okay, here's an interesting question from Chepo. Chepo wants to know, I do not meet the selection criteria for engineering mainstream. Do you have an extra year program or extended program?
Yes, we have the so-called extended curriculum program. You cannot apply for that But if you apply to any of our mainstream programs, the 4-year BEng degree programs, then you will be automatically considered for the extended curriculum program if you qualify. The extended curriculum program also allows lower selection scores to also get in, but the requirement in the extended curriculum program is that you come from an educationally disadvantaged background. So we will look at things like the quantile of school from which you came, your economic circumstances, socioeconomic status, whether you are a first-generation student, etc. So the extended curriculum program provides a lot of extra support, but most pertinently, it lays a very strong maths and science foundation that allows you to perform in the mainstream engineering programs at the same level as the other mainstream students.
Firstly, Mark sends us a thumbs up. Thank you for answering his question. Here's another question. Do I need my own laptop, or what facilities is available if I cannot afford one? Professor.
So if you want to buy your own laptop, you can certainly do so. We even publish minimum requirements for such laptops on our website at the Faculty of Engineering to help you choose something that would be able to do everything you need it to do in your on the academic side. But we do have almost 1,000 computers in the faculty in various computer laboratories that is available for you to use. It has all the necessary software that you may need for your studies on there, so you do not have to have your own laptop, even though it is, of course, convenient to have it.
Good. Here's a final question, because we've got 1 minute left for our particular session before our colleagues will be joining us for their session. I know that engineering is tough, it is challenging, but what leadership opportunities is there for students? Maybe Ncheliseng can answer that, because he's the vice chair of our Engineering Student Council.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Yes, engineering, it is indeed difficult, but it gets better with time, and it gets better if you have people to work with, and also if you need help, please seek help, because engineering is not like a degree where you can do it alone. You're gonna need other people. Yes, there are opportunities like leadership. For instance, I am the vice chairperson of the ESC. Apart from the leadership, we also have other opportunities. I'm currently mentoring high school students for the STEM program, which is hosted by the ESCOM. So my job is just to guide them to make their ideas a project so that they can be able to present it. Thank you so much.
Students, our time have run out. We want to say a big thank you to our acting dean, Professor Celeste Viljoen. We want to say thank you to Ncheliseng, our vice chair for our Engineering Student Council. I hope that most of your questions has been answered. If there's any burning questions that you still have and that we haven't touched on, you're more than welcome to email us, and we will gladly assist you with those answers. Just in summary, I want to make sure that you get this message very loud and clear. When you apply to study at the University of Stellenbosch, if you are in need of accommodation, a place to stay at the university, we really want you to apply on the same application also for residence placement. But also keep in mind that there's limited spaces available on residences at the university. Also have a look at the private accommodation at Stellenbosch around the university. Accommodation is crucial, because without accommodation you cannot study successfully. So make sure that you apply for accommodation on the same application. Then apply for bursaries, apply for financial aid. If you meet the criteria for NSFAS, apply for NSFAS, but also see if you can apply for other bursaries or financial aid. University studies are expensive, so you need to make sure of those due dates where you need to apply for bursaries. When you get acceptance for engineering, before the end of September, please select the program that you have been offered. Select that program before the end of September. Indicate your preference, and that is crucial. So from our side, a very big thank you that you've logged in. We really appreciate it, you logging in and asking your questions. We wish you well with your matric year. We know it's not an easy task for you to focus on your studies, but please keep your future in mind. From all of us, have a good evening. Goodbye.